Thompson.
We're under these lights.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're ready to kick off Sports Sunday, so sit back and relax while public address announcer Tony Giles introduces the starting lineup.
Now, your starting lineup for Sports Sunday. Starting at anchor, a 5'4" Aries from Centerville, Virginia, and a wannabe Wisconsinite. She's a former cross-country star at James Madison University. Put your hands together for Jen Chapman. Also starting at anchor, a 6-foot Leo from Birmingham, Alabama. He's got a degree in graphic design from ITT Technical Institute. He's a father of 3, B.J. Millican. This is Sports Sunday.
Yeah, it is. Welcome in, everybody, to a musical edition. We're in a musical mood of Sports Sunday. The Grammys were tonight, if you weren't paying attention, so naturally, we're going to be dropping some musical references tonight in the show.
Are you going to sing yours?
I might.
Well,
Stay tuned.
Then we'll know. So play along at home and keep count with the start of the Alabama women who came into Baton Rouge as the dark horse against LSU. There you go. You got number 1. Christy Curry's team struggling but looking to shake it off today. Bama held to just 9 points for the first 17 minutes of the game. The offense falling out. Jenna Deemer's jumper puts the Tigers up 16. Bama gets it together with an 11-0 run, leaving them pretty happy, including Brianna Hutchin, who knocks down a 3 to start the second half. They draw as close as 5. Ashley Williams getting fancy in the paint. She led the team with 15 points. Fancy. But the Tigers turned down for what? Scoring 9 straight, leading to a 51-39 win. Ashley Williams continues to lead the Tide, but still Alabama's sole SEC win this season was against the worst team in the league, Auburn. The Tide returned to action at home on Thursday against Missouri.
The Alabama men were looking for a little magic on Saturday in Baton Rouge, but nobody's smiling today because they faded down the stretch and lost a heartbreaker to the Tigers. Head coach Anthony Grant's squad couldn't fight through the woods after falling behind by 17 in the second half. We spoke with the voice of Bama Hoops earlier today about if Coach Grant's team has a fighting chance down the stretch and if the fans' displeasure is warranted.
There's extreme disappointment and surprise, frankly, that we're in year 6 and there's only been one NCAA tournament game that this team has had under Coach Grant. So it's natural. People much higher up the pay grade than myself will make that determination and evaluation. My job is to call games and to support and to be helpful to the coach of the Crimson Tide, whoever that coach happens to be, whatever sport it is that I'm calling, and that will always be the case. But it's natural to want Alabama to be competitive at the highest levels in every single sport because Alabama makes a commitment, I think, at the highest level where you can contend for championships in just about everything that they participate in.
Alabama hopes to do a little damage control this week with a road game in Starkville before coming back home Saturday against the Commodores.
Well, it wasn't the game they hoped to be playing today, but Alabama's club hockey team did play in the consolation game of the SEC hockey tournament. Vanderbilt was the opponent, and this game was tied at 4 in overtime. It was Johnny Lavorne giving the people what they want. An Alabama win. That goal gives the Tide a 5-4 victory. Final rankings will be released on Friday for Nationals.
Alabama's baseball team held Fan Day on Saturday to just say hi to the fans in Hoover. Their new home this year, the coach says that they'll need to adjust their style to suit their new park.
The transition from our ballpark to a spacious park here at the Hoover Met. I mean, we've got to play to the field, and the running game's going to be a bigger part of it. Going to have to do a really good job with our bunt game as well, but I think the biggest overall really comes on the mound. I mean, it's about committing to command and attacking the strike zone. Obviously, you don't want to give free passes here in this ballpark. Make people earn it. And so really our mission doesn't change a whole lot. It's just the way we go about it and the execution of it.
Alabama softball team liked winning so much they decided to do it again on Sunday. They knocked off McNeese 4-0 to sweep the opening weekend in Mobile. They're 6-0, outscoring their opponents this weekend 42-5. It's pretty impressive so far for Pat Murphy's team. Now, Jen, do you want more Alabama hoops talk?
I think we all do.
Because if you do, I got you.
That's right. It's coming up next in our Sunday chat with former Bama hoops coach Wimp Sanderson.
The college basketball world did lose a legend. We'll talk about that with Coach Sanderson. But up next, it's our Sunday chat with the coach. Stay with us. The college basketball world lost a legend today. Former North Carolina coach Dean Smith passed away at the age of 83. Smith led the Tar Heels to 2 national titles. Current UNC head coach Roy Williams praised Smith's innovative spirit.
Coach Smith has a legacy that touched basketball and will be around forever. You know, the little things like huddling at the free throw line, changing defenses, guys clapping when guys come off the bench, all those kind of things. But one of the ones that I've always admired the most was pointing at the guy that made the pass and thanking the passer. And Hubert and I still do it almost on every possession as a coaching staff.
Great to hear all those stories today about Coach Smith. He obviously coached Michael Jordan, too.
He was chiming in tonight as well.
There you go.
And while we're on the subject, we bring in former Crimson Tide basketball coach Wimp Sanderson for our Sunday chat. Coach, you coached against Coach Smith. What kind of legacy does he leave?
Well, on the court, he was an innovator. He was a guy that did a lot of different things, made basketball better. Four corners offense, he probably brought the shot clock in because of playing the four corners. But he had a lot of ideas about basketball, and he implemented those with his team, and he was an absolute great coach. And I thought he was a terrific person. I had some contests with him, and we were fortunate enough to win one, lose one. But he was, I think, a terrific man, and he's been sick for some time. And, you know, I don't know if it's ever better for somebody to pass away, but he's been really struggling.
Coach, let's talk about Anthony Grant. How tough of a job does he have right now, and what does he have to do to be successful here at Alabama?
Well, I think the first thing that you have to do is be sure that you're recruiting the right people as far as ability and character too, but the right people, and that you've got a recruiting staff that gets out, sees the coaches, becomes one of the coaches in the high school, and especially in Alabama for the ones that are there, the prospects that are there. When I was coaching, of course, we had more scholarships, changed some, but, you know, it all starts with the ability to get good players. And then, if you're fortunate enough to get really, really good players, then you've got to get them to play. The better they are sometimes, the more difficult they have in getting them to play every night. And my hat's off to Kentucky this year. Those guys have great chemistry. They play terrific on both ends of the court. And Cal's got, he's got a basketball team that's full of ability, much deeper than most of the teams in the 80s when I was at Alabama with Dale and those. They've got more players, but they get them to play. You don't win with just good players, and you don't win with just good people. You win with a combination of both. I think in Alabama's case, they've got some good players. They've had some injuries. We'll just see as the season goes along. It has been a tough year for Alabama.
That's right. And, Coach, you've dealt with some distractions during the year. How do you manage to coach with all the outside clutter Coach Grant and his team has to deal with right now?
Well, what you do is you play one game at a time, and you try to get your basketball team as good as possible for that particular game. You've got injuries, you've got to adjust and play the guys that you have. Sometimes the injuries, just overcome you and overcome your ability to have a chance to win. But if you get them as well as possibly can, but you play one game at a time, and then if you win or lose that basketball game, you turn the page and go to the next. You've got 18 games. You've got a non-conference schedule. I think the other thing too that people sometimes overlook, maybe a little bit the fans, is that there's one thing that's for sure. One thing, and that is if you win the SEC tournament, you get the automatic bid.
And, Coach, you won a lot of those SEC tournaments. A big rub on Coach Grant, though, is his style of play. He's won with it before, but can he win with it here in Tuscaloosa before it's all said and done?
He knows how he wants to play, and, with what he has, the one thing I never do on radio shows is I don't coach anybody else's team. I had a hard enough time coaching mine. So I don't really coach anybody else's team. Naturally this year, because they're a little bit underskilled in the post area, they're probably shooting a lot of threes. And I guess I think probably Alabama, Florida, Arkansas leads the league with number of threes attempted. So that's sort of the way they're playing now because they're a little bit unskilled in the middle. So it's probably the best way for them to play. Of course, when you shoot threes, you got to make some of them, and I think they're shooting it. I'm not sure what they're shooting at. I think somewhere in the neighborhood of 30%. And that's just the way they have to play this year. If they get better in the middle, then maybe they play a little bit different. So I don't really try to. I really can't answer. He coaches them. He's a very good basketball coach and a nice person, so I don't really try to tell anybody what style they need to play. That's their own business.
There you go. Wimp Sanderson, thank you so much for joining us, Coach.
Okay, thank you. Enjoy talking to you.
Appreciate it.
Well, one thing we've learned from Coach Sanderson and Chris Stewart as well, never say never on Alabama's tournament chances this year.
They'll have to turn it up for sure. When we come back, it's our favorite things. Stay with us. I tried. We'll be right back.
We're back with our favorite things. We always like to leave you with a good feeling. Obviously, we're laughing up here. We're having a good time. Headed into the week, so take it,
Yeah,
PJ.
This week it was a slam dunk. Here's video of several of our local college football signees who signed their letters of intent on Wednesday. Look at these guys. They are super happy, just like we are. A great day for kids, parents alike, all over our area. Congratulations to all these guys. Let's watch them as we roll out. Just a great day for them, obviously. Lots of smiles, lots of hugs, lots of good feelings, right, Jen?
The one time in their life they will always remember putting the hat on.
Absolutely.
Right?
I put a hat on, and it doesn't mean as much as when these kids put hats on.
That means a lot.
That means an awful lot, because not only is it a hat, it is a scholarship to play football at the next level, and that's a big-time deal, especially on some parents' pocketbooks. I know it would be huge for me.
Definitely. And their education, and we're Lester Cotton. He'll probably be the last on this, but Alabama, there he is.
Good night, everybody.
Good
Have a
night.
good week.